What's going on, Stim Junkies? High Stim Ace here, and today we are going to be going over a product that's been really hyped up over the past couple of weeks. This one here comes to us from the United Kingdom, courtesy of my good friends over at Cross the Limits. The crazy pre-workout that we are going to be reviewing today is Unknown by X-Lab. Not X-Labs, mind you, X-Lab. This thing screams bunker formula from the rooftops. I mean, looking at everything from the label here to the actual supplement facts, and I use the term supplement facts very loosely. This thing looks like it was concocted in somebody's basement, or better yet, in somebody's bathtub. But you guys know that when it comes to these underground illicit pre-workouts, they are definitely not all created equal. So let's not waste any more time because I have a lot to say about this pre-workout. Let's roll that intro. When we come back, we're going to talk Unknown by X-Lab in 2026. All right, guys, so this is Unknown by X-Lab, not even X-Labs, X-Lab, okay? This is just one lab involved in the manufacturing of this product. So right off the bat, if this doesn't give you Stim Junkie, underground, bunker, post-World War II vibes, I don't know what does. It is a very cool-looking tub, though. It looks unique. I like it. It's got a little bit of edgy skeletons here. Their eyes are kind of holographic. It looks like a portal to somewhere, man. You guys are going to be on a portal for sure, let me tell you. But they definitely didn't include any vowels in here. This is Unknown by X-Lab. We're going to talk everything flavor, label, effects, and whatever else you need to know about this insane underground pre-workout. All right, guys, so you saw the label. It's nothing too fancy, but it definitely pops. It's definitely unique, very akin to a lot of the other high stim pre-workouts I had over from the UK. It's funny because a lot of people always say that the UK doesn't produce a lot of quality pre-workouts. I don't know where this misconception comes from. Literally every product I had from the UK, whether it was something by Alpha Neon or by Coca Labs or by some other company that maybe a lot of people here haven't heard of, it's always been a hitter. Now, this one is definitely different, and it's interesting because I'm actually going to make a comparison to the Review Bros review, which they did for this product here, because there's definitely some comparisons, but a lot of differences between these two reviews. So make sure you stay tuned, guys. There's a lot to be said about this one, and the label actually here does say 18 plus, and I'm telling you right now, that is definitely not just there for fluff. It's not a joke, so stay tuned. It might save you a misfortune. So we're going to begin by talking about the flavor, and this one here I do believe comes in just the one flavor, which is Chemical Rush, and I'm telling you right off the bat, this thing tastes like straight up chemicals, and it's freaking disgusting. Probably one of the nastiest pre-workouts I ever had. You guys know that I'm a trooper. I don't really care so much about flavor, but a lot of people do care, and for the sake of having an objective, fully in-depth review, I'm going to tell you that this flavor is freaking nasty. 0 out of 10. Make sure to have a piece of gum handy, mix it with like 5 to 6 ounces of water, shoot it down, neck it, take the gum afterwards, you're going to want it, and move on with your lives. And that's it about flavor. We're not going to talk about that anymore. Let's break down this weird, inconspicuous looking label. So looking at the supplement facts here, and again, I use the term supplement facts very loosely, okay? Because this thing here is on a whole other level. You're getting a proprietary blend, and it's very interesting. First of all, on the bottom, it says classified formula. And again, that is not just for fluff. This literally may very well be a classified formula because you're barely getting any information in here. Usually, I have no issue when it comes to prop blends. I'm a big fan of Insane Labs products. Most of the time, I don't have an issue with it unless they are specifically underdosing certain ingredients and trying to pass it off like there's more than there actually is. But in here, the label is very confusing, right? Because when you look at the suggested use, it says to mix 1 scoop with 200 to 250 milliliters of water, consume 15 to 30 minutes before serving, do not exceed 1 serving per day. Here's the problem. It doesn't actually tell you what the suggested serving size is. I know, crazy, right? For a freaking bunker formula. For the record, Dark Energy also didn't tell you how much the scoop weighed, but we all kind of ended up figuring it out. That's why communities exist on the interwebs, and we kind of help each other out, figure these things out. But looking at the proprietary blend, it does say that the entire blend comes in at 12,800 milligrams, so 12.8 grams for us Americans. That is the mix of the proprietary blend. Now, I don't know if this includes flavoring or not, but just to play it safe, the very first time I ran it, and I did run it twice, First time I ran it at 12.8 grams, actually went up to 13 because my scale doesn't do every last digit properly. So we did 13 grams and I ran it with a very light pump formula, just mixed it in with some Apollo Nutrition Bloody Hell capsules to kind of help with the blood flow. And that was it. Now we're going to begin. We're going to go over the proprietary blend, and keep in mind this doesn't tell you dosages of any single ingredient. We're going to start with L-citrulline, then we have beta-alanine, and here's the fun exotic ingredient that is in here. We have Amazonian indole fraction. What the hell is that? Did they go to the Amazonian forest and just scrap off some tree barks, or maybe dig underground and get that extra magic that maybe here in the US we don't have access to? Maybe. It is very, very possible. But yeah, Amazonian indole fraction. It's definitely a code for something. I couldn't really find much information online about it, so it is what it is, guys. Then we have Neuractive Alkaloid Complex, okay, L-tyrosine, caffeine anhydrous, alpha-GBC, and theobromine. And believe it or not, boys, that is the label. Before High Stim Ace breaks down my experience running the X Labs pre-workout known as Unknown 2 times over the past week and a half, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share the channel with a fellow stim junkie or a pre-workout enthusiast, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Alright guys, so like I said, the very first time I ran this pre-workout, I did pair it with the Apollo Nutrition Bloody Hell capsules, which is essentially a nitric oxide complex, really, really mega dosed by the way, but I didn't want to mix it in with any crazy heavy pump formula. I didn't want to stack it on top of pump serum or Sicario, or even some lighter pump formulas. I really kind of wanted to take in this experience. You have this Amazonian ingredient in here, right, that I never heard of, and a lot of times when you're taking a heavy loaded pump formula, maybe one that has other nootropics in there, or more beta-alanine in it, like bare knuckle, right? It might interact negatively with this little stim blend. Now, this isn't exactly a tiny stim blend. It comes in at 13 grams or 12.8 to be exact. At least that's what I think. So I did that the very first time and I figured, hey, the scoop is tiny, but to play it safe, I'm going to pair those Apollon pills. They're going to help with the blood flow a little bit, you know, increase the blood dilation, so it kind of smoothens out the experience, and we'll see what happens. Now, when I watched the Review Bros reviews, and shout out to my main man, Craig, who I do believe gave an authentic review, but again, we all react differently to these products, right? Everybody reacts differently to these types of products. Now, in his review, Craig said that it was a medium stim kind of experience where he had a good workout, he got lit up, it felt illicit, but it wasn't anything too over the top. In contrast, when Aaron did his review for the goddamn Fury, he said that that pre-workout almost killed him. And again, I believe both of them. I do think they're both genuine experiences. For me, the entire experience between these two pre-workouts is flipped 180, exactly the opposite from what the Review Bro said. Because when it came to goddamn Fury, and if you guys haven't seen my review for goddamn Fury, I'm going to link it down below. I'm going to pin the comments, so make sure to check it out, okay? So in my review on goddamn Fury, I spoke about that product in detail, in depth, and even though it was an illicit, unique kind of experience, and it was intense, it wasn't to the point where I was shaking uncontrollably or breathing heavy or tweaking, or I didn't really have negative side effects on it, honestly. Other than getting pretty tired and fatigued after an epic workout, it wasn't really all that bad in terms of side effects. Now, this one here was a different story. I took the pre-workout, I had to neck that shit because it was freaking disgusting, had a piece of gum afterwards, and I went to the gym. For the first 20 minutes, didn't really feel all that much, maybe a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of a mood elevation, nothing crazy, nothing too over the top, right? It kind of felt like a typical 2-amino, you know, when it starts kicking in at that 18, 20-minute mark, right? You start feeling the floaty head high, and you start getting the narrow tunnel vision coming in, and you're like, okay, I'm vibing with this, the music's sounding better, it's feeling good, I'm feeling nice, I'm feeling floaty, everything was great. Now, I got to the gym, I started lifting, and everything was good for the first couple of minutes. I would say we're in about 35, 40 minutes at this point. Everything was great. No negative side effects, no elevated heart rate, no jitters, no shaking, no heavy breathing, nothing. Everything was super solid. Really did feel like a medium stim 2-amino kind of product, maybe like something from the old Kilo Labs lineup. It felt super positive and uplifting. Now, for whatever reason, at the 40-minute mark, when I was getting heavy into the workout and I was really dialed in and starting to push heavy, this thing took a complete turn. I started getting anxious. For whatever reason, the breathing became super, super heavy, right? And I found myself sweating profusely. And I usually don't get those kind of chills or sweaty chills or whatever you want to call it, where you're cold, but you're sweating and you're breathing heavy at the same time. I don't usually get that unless I'm running something really, really insane. For whatever reason, this thing here reminded me of that original Hero Lean with the DMAA where I was sweating cold sweats and anxious and breathing heavy, but I felt high as a kite, right? This was literally that similar kind of experience. And it could be for many reasons. You know, it could be this is the first time I'm running whatever secret ingredient is in here, this Amazonian ingredient, because I remember that when I ran Smash AMF for the very first time, that OG batch, the very first time I ran it, I had a crazy experience and there were negative side effects associated with that experience. But then for whatever reason, my body kind of got used to it. And even to this day, if I do run the OG batch, even if I don't pair any pumps on top of it, I'll be okay. I won't have those negative side effects anymore. So it might very well be the case here because I did run this one a second time. Before I tell you about my second time, let me finish telling you about the first time, okay? Because 40 minutes and onwards, it started getting really bad. I started breathing heavy. I started panicking a little bit, getting that sweaty cold chills, the anxiety, all the negative side effects, right? The delayed urination was definitely there. I figured, let me go to the bathroom. Let me wash my face, rinse off a little bit. Let me take a piss and reassess, let me gather myself and go back to the workout. I did have my hydration formula like I always do with the electrolytes and everything, so I made sure to chug that for a little bit, and I washed my face, and I was, getting ready to go back to the workout. But when I went out there, by the way, crazy delayed urination, that's a whole other side effect, so it definitely leads me to believe there's some illicits in here. But when I got back to the workout, man, I just wasn't having it. I was in a very negative headspace, and it was too much for me, honestly. At that point, I realized that I was shaking uncontrollably, like literally shaking like this, I couldn't control myself. And it's a very frustrating experience when you're trying to do some chest press and you're already dealing with shoulder pain, which I've been dealing with for close to 3 years at this point. And I'm not even pushing heavy. I literally had 40s in each hand. Okay. I was taking it super, super light. I didn't want to stress myself because of my anxiety and whatnot, but I'm literally pushing this thing and my hands are so freaking shaky that I'm literally pushing the freaking weight and my hands are shaking. I felt like I didn't have control over my body. Now, there are times where I take alpha-based pre-workouts and they do give me a little bit of that tweaked out effect, right, where I'm tweaking just a little bit, but it's not to the point where I'm losing control over my body. I literally felt like I was losing control over my own body. It was too freaking much. So needless to say, I tried finishing out the workout, but I just wasn't having it. So I just kind of ended up pacing around the gym. I finished with the free weights. I ended up just hitting a couple of machines, hit the cables, which is a little bit more easier because things are in place, they're in control. So it's easier to do that than to do free weights, right? So I ended up just finishing up the workout, was pretty unsatisfied, came home, took 600 milligrams of L-theanine, and just took a hot shower and just tried to relax. And within a couple hours, I did relax. But the shakes, man, the shakes persisted for so long. And I'm a naturally jittery person. I naturally deal with shakiness for whatever reason. Probably got to get that checked out. But either way, these shakes just amplified everything times 10. And it was very, very annoying and uncomfortable that I wasn't even able to do regular tasks because my hands were so freaking shaky. Now, obviously, because of that bad experience, I didn't want to run this pre-workout for a second time. But because I'm High Stim Ace, because I have my integrity, and because I owe it to you guys to run this twice before I come on here, I said, let me run this a second time. But this time, I'm definitely going to bring down the dose a little bit. So instead of 13 grams, I brought it down to about 8.59 grams, right? It's about 4 grams, 4.5 grams less than that initial dose I ran. So let's say the full dose is 13 grams. So at 8.5 or whatever it was, that's a little bit more than half the dose. And this time I did pair it with a pump formula. I paired it with Toxic Masculinity Nutrition's pump formula, the Warlord. And that to me was a much, much better experience. So I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, if you are interested in running this underground formula, definitely start off with half the dose, okay? Take it at 8 grams, see how you respond to it. It does take it a little while to build. It's going to feel really good initially, give you a good mood elevation, feel like that good 2-amino buzz that you're so used to. But then literally 35, 40 minutes in, there might be a little bit of panic setting in for whatever reason. So don't take it at 13 grams like I did the very first time. Run it at 8 grams and see how you respond to it. Now, the second time was definitely a much more positive experience. I didn't have the crazy shakes like I had the first time around. I actually had none of the negative side effects. Granted, the high wasn't quite as intense, so it felt more in the background. I wasn't dialed in a bubble with blinders on like I was that very first time, but it was a much more tolerable experience. And definitely, I'll tell you guys again, if you want to run this pre-workout, if you're determined to pick it up and you do want to run this one, start off at 8 grams, do not exceed 9 grams, and either pair some citrulline on top of it or some nitrates or whatever, just something to help with the blood flow, because this one here is different. And it could be you guys are going to run this one like Craig from Review Bros, and maybe you're going to feel like it's just a regular medium stim pre-workout. It's not too crazy. It's not too over the top. We are all different, guys. Everybody responds to these products and ingredients differently, especially when it comes to these underground illicit types of products where you don't know what they're putting in there. Amazonian, whatever, okay? So, guys, be cautious, be careful. I will tell you that for me, 13 grams was too much. 8.5, 9 grams was solid, but honestly, there are much better pre-workouts. I much prefer the goddamn Fury over this one because for whatever reason, that one, even at the full dose, wasn't too much for me. Now, this one, on the other hand, at the full dose, was a little too much, and not in a good way. It wasn't like I took a crazy, Anarchy Labs pre-workout where they throw everything and the kitchen sink in it, and it's just the stims getting me all hopped up. It wasn't like that kind of experience. It was whatever secret ingredient is in here, okay? There's definitely something in here. I didn't respond well to what was in there, and I had a negative reaction, and I honestly could have handled everything. I could have handled the sweating. I could have handled the shortness of breath. I can bounce back from all that stuff. The shaking is what drove me crazy. I'm telling you guys, uncontrollable shaking. It wasn't just like a little bit of alpha-yo tweaking. You know when you take the alpha-yo and you're just like a little tweaked out and you're like a little shaky and a little jittery, but it's not a big deal, right? It wasn't like that. It was just full-on freaking shaking. I couldn't control my own body. And that to me is unacceptable. So I'm probably not going to run this one again, if I'm being honest. It's not a bad experience. It's definitely illicit. There's definitely a tunnel vision focus in here. It's definitely a unique experience. It's different than a lot of the other high stims, but I personally didn't like this one so much, and I just got to be honest, keep it real with you guys. It's not a thumbs down. It's not a thumbs up. It's a thumbs middle for this pre-workout here. You guys decide what you want to do with this information. All I can do is come on here and tell you my personal experience based on my training and on my body, and relay that information to you guys, my beloved community. Now, if you guys do want to pick up this product, and I know some of you are going to want to pick it up because it is limited edition and it's probably not going to be coming back. So if you guys are interested in picking this one up, you can head over to crossthelimits.co.uk. They are based in the UK, but they do ship internationally and pretty fast as well. Discount code ACE5 will save you 5% off your entire order and help support the High Stim Ace YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. As always, I got to keep it real with you because you guys come first, and I will never come on here and bullshit you guys just to sell some product. So don't forget to leave a like on your way out for High Stim Ace's integrity and honesty, keeping it real like I always do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Click the little bell notification to get all of High Stim Ace's latest updates. Follow me on Instagram at High Stim Ace, and I will see you all next time for the next High Stim pre-workout review. Take care, everybody. High Stim Ace. Signing off.